This is Brandon here from TheTitleFight.com, and I'm just going to get right into it. You're going to be back in the ring here on February 15th. It's been a little bit since you've been in the ring. What's been going on?
We just trying to maintain pretty much, going to the gym and try not to get out of shape, all the way. So we just been, I've been waiting, very anxious a little bit to try to get back in the ring. That's what I love to do. And like I said, I had a really ugly fight with Austin Trout where I couldn't find the rhythm and he couldn't find the rhythm as well. So, I have so much that I want to give because I feel stronger than ever, I feel better than ever, not just physically but also mentally. So very excited to finally get back in the ring on February 15th.
Right on. Okay. Now, you're going to be headlining Friday Night Fights there on February 15th. It's going to be back in, pretty much it's going to be a home game for you. Be fighting the Mohegan Sun, something you're very familiar with. With this opponent, I know I'm going to butcher his last name, George Kamachi Boy Tata. I'm not even going to disrespect him and mispronounce that, but
I can't pronounce it myself. Trust me, I never remember.
Yeah, it's a tough one, but with a guy like this, he's kind of flown under the radar. He's fought a lot of smaller shows. How is it preparing for a guy you may not have that much film or that much knowledge of, preparing for a big fight like this?
Well, we train hard for every fight. We don't really look away from him at all. We know he's a very strong guy, very tough guy. He fight at 160, pretty much his whole career. So we know we gotta be prepared. That's why, like I said, we don't really. There isn't much you can do to prepare for a guy like that. You just make sure you're in good shape, and in that we always are when we step into the ring. So we're gonna try to see the little tapes and little mistakes that he makes. And take it from there.
And with you fighting pretty much a hometown fight, how important is it to feed off that energy from the crowd? You're going to have a lot of friends and family there in the area to cheer you on. How important is that?
It's great, man. That makes it even more exciting for me. It's great. It motivates me even more. And it gives me, not just the fame, but fighting at ESPN, which is, national TV. It gives me the opportunity to really show. And this fight, I want to put everything. I want to leave everything in the ring. I want to pretty much excite people like I used to do, when I first started fighting on ESPN, make an exciting fight. And like I said, we always prepare, we're in good shape, so I want to leave it all in the ring.
Absolutely, absolutely. Now, you had mentioned earlier, last time we saw you was here this past June against Austin Trout. You said it was a boring fight. What do you think was one of the biggest things you took away, even in a defeat, to Austin Trout?
Well, I think, that what made it a boring fight is a two-star. Austin Trout is a fighter that just, he concentrates a lot on defense, And my mistake was, I was in good shape. Like I said, I didn't press as hard as I should have. But, I didn't take the risk that I needed to take, which was, I don't want to get caught with stupid punches trying to come in, But I could have pressed harder, I could have pressed a little harder, put more pressure and take the risk, Boxing is about a lot of risk. And I didn't do that that night, and I, really regret that. And, I know I can correct that, so that's what I'm going to do this year.
This year, you're going to get an early start starting here in February. What are the kind of the goals you're shooting for in 2013? I know I kind of read that, with this fight you're taking here on the 15th, this guy kind of size-wise compares to Alvarez, and that's somebody you would like to face here later on this year. Where do you see yourself going here as far as this 2013 goes?
Yeah, that's what I'm shooting for, man. Right there, it's the first time I'm going to say this, but that's what I'm shooting for. I want to fight somebody like that at the end of the year. By the end of the year, I want to be able to, sign for a fight where I can fight Alvarez. And I want to fight this guy Alvarez, which is, one of the biggest name right now out there in this division. And that's the guy that's going to motivate me the most. I think he's going to take the best out of me. So hopefully, I'm working towards that. In my mind, that's what I'm working towards. So a guy like Alvarez.
And actually entering this year, I don't know if you know this, come January 30th, that's going to mark you made your professional debut. So now you're entering your 14th year as a pro. I mean, throughout these years, what keeps you motivated? What keeps you wanting to go in that ring, take punches to the face repeatedly, to continue to want to do this? What keeps you motivated year in and year out?
Brandon, when you have, when when you feel it and you know you have what it takes to become the world champion, you know, I've been through a lot in my career with promotional and management problems, you know, which can really keep a fighter back, you know, it can really hold back a fighter a lot. And that had happened through my career for a while, you know, and but like I said, you know, I know I have the techniques, I have the abilities, and you know, I love the game. I love the competition. I love the fighting game. So you know, I believe, like I say, I think the main thing is when you know you have it, when you know you have the abilities, and that you've been working so hard for it since I was a child, you know, that's something you cannot give up. Yeah, you know, you got to keep working for it. And I'm very confident that this year, you know, it's finally going to happen. I'm finally going to accomplish what I've been looking for all my life.
Absolutely, absolutely. I mean, and that's something every fighter. If you don't have that fire, it shows in the ring. And I've never really, in all the years I've watched you fight, I've never seen you not have that fire, that energy to go out and perform. And I really respect that as a fighter because it takes a lot to go in there. It's just you and another guy in the ring and getting hit. That takes a lot that a lot of people just don't have.
No doubt about it. You got to have a fire. You got to want it. You know, and the most important thing, you got to have the right team behind you. You know, I believe I got the right team behind me finally. You know, I have a great manager, you know, Jay Galante, my trainer, Felipe Feliz, and of course, one of the guys that really helped me a lot, a great strength conditioner, Matt Patron. You know, so everything is working out good right now. You know, like I said, we had a little step back by, you know, I kind of like I wouldn't say I let go, but bigger between by not putting so much into a fight when I fought. You know, the last fight I had, it's just mistakes that you make, and like I say, I didn't take the risk that I needed to take. But you know, it's not too late. Like I say, I feel very strong. I feel very confident, and I'm still gonna work on it. I still want it. You know, maybe more than ever. So we're still here, man. We're still here. Like I say, every fight, I want to leave it in the ring. I want to put all the training, all the hard trainings that we do, you know, for a fight. I want to show it in the ring and just leave it in the ring.
When you're outside of the ring, what hobbies do you have that kind of take your mind away from boxing, to kind of relax and not be always wound up and so tight and ready for a fight? What do you do outside of the ring to kind of take your mind off that, to keep you refreshed, keep you energized, keep you motivated?
Well, you know, I don't think as a boxer, you know, I've been doing it for such a long time, and like I said, I've won it so much. I don't think that there's any time you don't really take your mind away from it. You know, you try to relax a little bit. You know, I also work for ESPN, so that helps out. You know, I travel with ESPN a lot of times, and I do fight. So, as you know, I'm an analyst for ESPN, so my mind is always in boxing. You know, my mind is always in boxing, and it's something that I love. You know, so that's about it.
Now, do you see that as maybe being a post-career, doing commentating work, or do you maybe want to do the training side or get in the promotional side of the business once you do hang up the gloves, which we hope isn't anytime soon, you know, years down the road?
Being a trainer, I don't know, you know, I like to train kids. I like to help out kids. There's a lot of kids in my town, you know, they want to learn the sport. But the ESPN is something that I'm 100% sure about, you know, something that I want to do after boxing. I want to really concentrate into that. I like the TV. I like to analyze the fights, you know, and I like to meet different fighters, you know. So I think that's something that I'm very certain about, that I'm going to shoot for and try to get better at, and you know, make a career out of that after boxing.
Again, we do appreciate you taking out some time out of your busy day, because I know you know, getting ready for your big fight here on February 15th, which again will be live on ESPN's Friday Night Fights. Is there anybody out there, any fans or supporters you want to thank, or where can people follow you at and find you?
Oh yeah, definitely, man. There's I can show you that there's gonna be a full house at night, you know, and people know it's gonna be, you know, I'm gonna give it an exciting fight like I always do. And this guy, you know, it might not be, you know, a guy with big names that everybody knows, but I'm sure he's a strong guy, and he knows that he has a good opportunity, and he's gonna go for it. You know, I know it's gonna be a good fight because he's a guy that comes forward. So, you know, all my fans, all my people, they're very excited about that. I'm going back into the ring on February 15th, so yeah, definitely. I can show there's going to be a full house that night.
Appreciate you taking out time out of your busy day to sit down with us here at TheTitleFight.com. We wish you the best of luck and definitely want to hear from you more in the future, all right?
Oh, thank you, man. My pleasure. Anytime.
All right, thank you.